Hi, Charlene back to talk more about this wonderful new beginning, this new lunar year, this year of the water rabbit and all that it has to do with. And I left off with talking about talismans, and I just wanted to tell you that to further that for a moment before I go on to the next is that when you make something like this, it takes time, concentration, energy, and infusion. And what I loved about not only the paper that I used, that happened to be last year's paper, but the little reverse rabbit that was going back to look at what we can bring forth from last year, all the hardships or whatever challenges we had, we can shift that this year, which I think is really a wonderful thing. And as I've been here in this particular location for 2.5 weeks, and it's been gray, like you can see outside. And as I was beading my talismans, and I bead them and I put in, like this year we have an amethyst in there, we have a pearl, water pearl. There's different reasons why I choose everything. And as I was doing that, the sun came out. And as I was beading, the sun was infusing the talisman. It was the only day we've had sun in 3 weeks, and it's not out today either. So that was yesterday, and I feel really grateful that these things manifest when it's something that's powerful and magic. And one of the things I think about with the rabbit year is our abilities to manifest. And I have a young man that really good friend, and he's an old soul, even though he's only 22, and he gets triggered. His generation gets triggered by the word manifestation because it gets bandied about all along. So we had a long conversation after I did a reading for him, and it came down to me, it was like manifestation is actually, it's how we can see through an intention to completion. So it has to be a strong intention. And because this year, it's really important to be clear what your intentions are. Rabbit's ability to be intellectual and deep and knowing and wise is really important for us to use. And the clearer we are about what we want to happen this year, the better. And today with my guests here, I put out a paper and asked them to write down their intentions, and it's really important because we're going to do something with that later. But right now I want to continue on and talk about the mythology because it kind of ties into what a talisman is about. I talked about the rabbit in the moon. I want to tell you one of the stories, the origin stories, and why the Asians really revere the rabbit. And the story has to do with the Jade Emperor, who turned himself into a beggar and was looking for a very powerful assistant to help him for this thing he wanted to do. And the rabbit saw this old beggar, and he was really, feeble, humble, and hungry. So the rabbit took it upon himself to jump into a fire the man had started, to cook himself, to offer himself unconditionally to that man so that he would live. And then as soon as that happened and the rabbit was cooked, the Jade Emperor turned into the Jade Emperor and pulled that rabbit back into his original form to say, "You're the one I've been looking for." And he took him to the moon. And in the moon, they used the stone jade, which is very popular, very well known in Asia. We also have jade in Latin America and other places in the world. But the Asians revere jade because it has this association with the rabbit, with the Jade Emperor. Because he was the Jade Emperor, they ground up jade in all these beautiful herbs, and they made what he called the elixir of life. So there's this thing about rabbit that has this longevity and quality because he is self-preserving. Now, there's a few things about rabbit I did speak about. One, rabbits are always going to be stylish. Rabbits always look good. They have an ability to really seek refinement. They seek refinement, style, culture. They seek out things that are a little different, that really enrich them. So they'll, if a rabbit has money, they'll have fine china and beautiful things and a beautiful home, and they'll create beauty around them because they really appreciate that. But how it affects us this year is our ability to go out and find and locate not just beautiful things, like go to museums, befriend artists, befriend musicians, take up an instrument, learn something new. It's all about refining yourself. Like, we're so busy working, you know, we're always in the grind, we're always doing things, and I'm guilty as anybody else. I'm, you know, focused on my things, or I'm taking it easy, one of the two. But do I step out of my comfort zone to learn something new? I know 90-year-olds who are learning new languages. I know people in their 70s that have picked up an instrument. That inspires me. I want to be that person. I want to live well into my 90s with a very clear intellect and know things and learn things every day. So that's another beautiful image that we can use, in fact that we can take that ability of the rabbit to really bring that refinement and quality, visit more museums. But the other part of it that I realize is super important, they love cultural impulses. And it's really out there in the world right now, inclusion, cultural diversity. It's up this year. Appreciation of cultural diversity, and how we can use that in our own lives to enrich and join in that big family community of little rabbits, to really pull in, to be in the place of the heart mind, out of the head mind and the intellect, into the heart mind. And often you'll see, I grew up a Catholic, I see the priest tapping that particular gland, and is it a pituitary? Pineal. Thymus, the thymus. So they're tapping the thymus to pull in an energy from beyond. So here we have priests that have practiced things that are like so far removed from what's taught in that particular religion. So it's all about like bringing this cultural diversity and letting go of the boundaries. Now, the other thing that they say about their the rabbit's ability to be styling and always look good is that it hides their insecurities. Like, if they look good, nobody's going to really question them on things that they're uncomfortable to delve in, which leads us back to personal development, that whole thread. But they say that it's, you know, if that's the issue, I don't care, because it teaches us an incredible discernment to really look inside. And rabbits they hold their cards close to their chest. They do not reveal everything. They'll agree with you, they'll invite you to a party, they'll talk to you about lots of things. I know a great astrologer, but there's always something hidden. They're not going to tell you everything. That again ties into the theme of being more conservative, being more diplomatic, learning and researching things, reaching out to your community. There's all these things that are what I love to use the word discernment, because in my work as an energy clearer, we work with a discerning energy field around a person or a house that allows all the powerful to come in and keeps the negative at bay. So discernment is a good word for all of us to appreciate and use this year. So put on my glasses because there's a lot here that I don't want to forget anything. So we talked about the mythology and about how this beautiful, deep ability of the rabbit to be discerning is another reason why the Asians really appreciate rabbits. World influence. It'll encourage us to learn more, step out of our comfort zones, the cultural diversity, diplomacy, and unlike last year's tiger, this year, the effect is abundance and good luck that rabbits are assigned in the Asian culture is really available to us. Now, tigers they're abundant. They can go out and prey and hunt and eat, and tigers are very altruistic. So they'll actually forego like personal relationships to go save the world. Well, that energy that is in the talisman, looking back to the tigers, like, we can be altruistic, but not to let go of ourselves and our personal relationships. And that's really important in the worldview as well. The diplomacy, the peace-lovingness of it. Let's see how that plays out in the world stage this year. I'm going to be really excited to see how that happens. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit now about the Feng Shui of it all. Okay, so there's a whole thing about this cultural loveliness of the rabbit that brings us into the refinement. So this year is a really good year to learn more about Feng Shui, to learn more about harmony and balance in your space. And in many of my videos, I talk about how our health and well-being is our true wealth. because we can't get up in the morning, we can't turn it on, get out there and go to work, create what we want in our worlds if we don't have good health. We don't have the ability to get out there. So true wealth is health. And this year, the abundance is there. It's all, you know, that fast moving growth energy is there. For many animals this year, we have to kind of really sit back. I think the pig, the rabbit itself, even though it's in its own year, it's got good luck. What's the other one? Can't remember right offhand, but there's another animal that has amazing energy this year because they have to really work with it. I think dragons do better this year as well. So having said that, I want to talk about what the Feng Shui is about. And the thing about the talisman, for years now, I'm going to show you this talisman one more time. There's the backward looking talisman. There's the rabbit and the ear of the water dragon, and the shape is very abstract, I guess I would say. Getting back to the talisman, I get people to hang them in the direction of the Grand Duke Jupiter. Now, this is a very Asian thing, and I talked to an Asian woman yesterday in a store. I went in looking for this particular beautiful, there was none left. Now, that's another story, but she's talking to me about, she tried to sell me this thing that was the Grand Duke, and it had Happy Chinese New Year's on it, but it was also one of those things that was like, you look at it and it changes, and I thought, that's not going to translate in a video. So I walked out of the store and I went, okay, I'm just not going to have a lantern this year. Went into the store next door that I'd been to last week. She had bought all the lanterns, everything. And I went in and I said, wow, can I take some pictures? Because it looks so pretty, the display. It was an optical shop in downtown Nelson. And she bought all the stuff. She made a beautiful window display. And I said, she said, there's one more at the Chinese shop, but I was on a mission and I only went back yesterday. It was gone. So I walked right next door and I said, hey, Deborah, they're all gone. And she said, wait a minute, I bought this for you. I went, what? She said, I bought this for you. I didn't want to ruin my display. I want to give it to you so you can use it when you do your videos this week. I was just so grateful. So I offered her a reading in exchange, and I'll bring it back to her and she can have it because I'm going to be traveling. I have nowhere to store it. So magic happens, and this year is full of magic when we're tuned into that, tuned into the soft and gentle way of flowing through things. And it's surrendering to the demands of the moment. Yes, we can have lists. I make thousands of lists. I love that, crossing the lists off. But I'm also open to, what do I need to do right now? What's my energy? Can I do this right now? No, I have to do this. And I'm learning more and more that you go with the flow, you follow the demands of the moment in your energy field. And I think that's really important. Getting back to Feng Shui, in my videos, I often say that our bodies, our health and well-being, our homes are an extension of our bodies. So if we have, we can be healthy, go to the gym, get fit, Botox, whatever it is we do to become that, look good, very rabbit quality. We go into a house that's messy or not put together, it pulls our energy down a bit. So this is a really good year to get your Feng Shui together. Going back to the talismans, I always hang it in the place of the Grand Duke because that's an imposing Jupiter energy. This year, oddly enough, it's due east, right where the rabbit lives, and there's an opposing and equally challenging star in the west. So like, oh gosh, where to put the talisman this year? If you don't have a talisman, take some beautiful stone or something that's important to you, put your energy and love into it, and sit it in the east and say, this is going to help me out. And put something equal in the west. This is going to ward off any bad energies. And when you look at those objects, clean them off. Remember your intentions. Because in Feng Shui, a cure is simply there to remind you what you wanted to put into it. Now, in the Black Hat sect of Tibetan Buddhism and what came to North America back in the 60s, through a certain master who was told to come and teach the North Americans all about Feng Shui, came directly from the Buddhist Tibetan influence. And there's as much prayer involved and intentioning as there is hanging of cures. And myself, I just knew that I wanted to have a store, I wanted to do interior design and do Feng Shui, and I realized I didn't want to be married to something that would keep me locked down because I'm such a mover, such a nomad, such a gypsy, if you will. So I decided that I would not have a store. The only things, and I don't want to, tell people to buy this, that, or the other thing. I do use heart rose quartzes. I use quartz. I use all the beautiful stones because my talismans are infused with like the pearl from underwater. I use all the different chakra stones. I really believe in this because my master taught me how to activate stones, which is it was a real gift, so that I can take a stone and activate it. If you hold it, we clear the energy, we put your energy into it, amplifies it. So every talisman that I send gets activated for you and your information. Now, getting to down and dirty with the Feng Shui of it all this year. Oh, here we are. Finally found the page. It only took 5 minutes. All that chatting. Okay, here we go. The water rabbit this year is an optimal time to sort out, learn about, and amp up your Feng Shui design. I'll be putting links to my website, etc. Our immediate environments are a powerful place to start with the refining rabbit energy, the refinement of our style and what we want to project in our own worlds. Many of my videos on YouTube reflect on how our environments are a reflection of our true nature in our physical bodies. Just as we welcome more conscious self-care this year, interpersonal relationships, take time to find and make sanctuary in your home. Make that special spot. No, you can't maybe do the Feng Shui of the whole house. You can win a prize if you subscribe of a Feng Shui reading from me, Feng Shui consultation. But you can go into like one place in your home and make it really special, whether it's your meditation room, even an office. Like, make sure it's clean and make sure that everything there feels good to you. You may not need to know actual rules of Feng Shui to know what makes you feel good. You move an object, and even as an interior designer, studying for years and years to get my degree, I still will, I'll do a floor plan and I'll still go into the space and move things around until they feel right. I know I've been doing Feng Shui since I was a child. And when I first read my book on Feng Shui, I read it cover to cover in one night and went, I've been doing this my whole life. And as one of my guests here commented earlier about my devotion to this work, it's about health and well-being. It's about how we can enhance our space. Having said that, I have a list of Feng Shui things that I want you to pay attention to. Okay. Now, when we turn into the power of balance and harmony, it will spill into our interactions with people. Feng Shui, wind, our breath, water, what we're made of. Breath and sustenance reflects who we are and can reflect who we want to become. As one of my masters phrased it, it's often so simple, it takes far too many words to explain it. I did not choose Feng Shui as a profession, it chose me, which is why I'm so grateful to share all this information that I do. Go to my channel, 3-minute sound bites. You can just pick whatever you want and just learn something new. To that end, here are a few tips for 2023. This year, it's advised not to embark in major construction in your home or office. Now, why? Usually, it's don't start construction in the area where the Grand Duke sits. It's all about rabbits not liking to be disturbed. They don't like conflict. They don't like things to be up. They like nice peace and quiet. So it's saying that if you're going to do that, be careful. It goes against the peace-loving nature of the rabbit and thought to bring unfavorable influences. Now, that's not to say that builders and developers are not going to do that, but it's another reason why I call the metal element all about the money and decision-making and the control developers, because they have control over what happens. So just have to be a little more careful this year. If you decide it's time, please note that most unfavorable directions for construction this year are east and west. Predominantly east, but definitely west. And then I talk about the talismans. It's also thought that facing east in 2023, so to actually have your chair facing east, right now I'm facing due east. So there you go. I'm in contrast to my own nature, just facing east to film. But I also believe that, as my master told us, that we can shift our astrology by strong intention and prayer. So I'm bringing you really good luck because the camera's facing west, my direction. And so I have to face east to look at you. The other aspect of rabbits discerning energy and patience is choosing the time to embark on various pursuits. Having your 9-star key annual chart done will reflect your progression through the year, what months to take action, what months to withdraw. We'll take a small moment to talk to you about Feng Shui astrology, 9-star key, what I practice. And there's many layers, like 4 pillars. There's lots of different layers of Chinese astrology. I practice 9-star key, which reflects the 7 stars of the Big Dipper and the yin and yang star that balance it out. And that's Polaris and Vega. Now, in some books, it's 135,000 years, and other books, it's 165,000 years, where they actually flip, and one becomes the North Star, and then they flip again. Well, it's a long time, but in our lifetimes, we'd never see that amount. But it just shows that it's focusing a lot of energy on one constellation and how it moves into the 4 locations through the year. Now, the beautiful thing about the 9 stars, it reflects 9 very different personalities, but it only has 5 elements. So as I said earlier, 1 water, 1 location. 9 fire, 1 location. 1 water is in north, 9 fire is in the south. Then we have earth. We have 3 earth types of people, and those are 3 numbers. 2, 5, and 8 goes right through the middle of the bagua, or the Feng Shui compass. So and then we have the 2 balancing energies. We have 2 wood people up in the east and southeast, and then we have 2 metal people in the west and northwest. So this is all these different personalities. And when I do a 9-star key reading, I actually tell you about your personality based on career, your health, your relationships. But when I do an annual check-in with you, I'm looking at where your number is in each month, specifically where your number is for the year, but also through the month. So having said that, I'm traveling this month. I can't move from the 4th of February, which is another thing I'll get back to, is 4th of February, the full moon, end of Chinese New Year's. From that date until the 6th of March, my number's in the dead center of the system. Now, being an 8 earth person, I can't move to or from the number 5 or to or from away my number, but specifically if your number's in the center, not a good time to travel, not a good time to move house, not a good time to change relationships or jobs. Energy's coming at you from all directions, very energetic, but be careful what you do. So I actually sold my house in a 5-year, many years ago, very karmic. And of course, I learned later because this is what happens. And another one of my masters, I think my main master, Dr. Lim, said, sometimes Feng Shui people live in the worst places because that's how they learn. Yes, I've learned a lot. So, yes. So, like I said, I'm facing east. Oh well, I'm always here to contradict the rules, but with consciousness and intention. So having said that, a little bit about 9-star key astrology, and that's going to be one of the gifts I offer you, 3 readings, which will go your Feng Shui information and your 9-star key and what your personality is about. Okay, activate the northwest area of your home that pertains to travel and helpful people by volunteering and giving back to your community. The energy of giving always brings auspicious luck, especially when you do it with heart. So this year it is about reaching out to that community of bunnies and helping out, like just giving unconditionally from your heart to help people. And that really makes us feel good for one, and 2, brings us a really powerful auspicious energy. And it's happened in my household where my son and his girlfriend volunteered. She got a job. From the same job, from volunteering, she got a job and a raise and a raise. Like, it just took her right into her career. Having gotten a degree, she's in a level that most people would have to have a master or doctorate to do. So it really works when you volunteer. Activate the center of your home with a heart-shaped rock or a rose quartz. Placed in a location that's seen, make sure you clean and care for it. Cures are to remind us of the intention and prayers we put into them. Activating the heart energy is good no matter what, whether it's in a room, on a desk, in your house. And often people say the heart of a home is in a kitchen. And often when I'm dowsing, no matter what the cross point is in a square house, it's usually dead center, it always moves to the kitchen. So it's a good thing to do this year. Celebrate events in your life by hosting parties that bring together friends, colleagues, and people you would like to have in your life. Realize we are not anybody that's not socially inclined. It's a powerful way to shift energy, step out of your comfort zone, and give back by honoring your friends, neighbors, and becoming vulnerable. So those are important things that I would say in Feng Shui. Maybe they're esoteric, but they're good things to follow. And yeah, go through my videos, learn about your Feng Shui, learn about the different areas of your house. Like I say, most of what I do is in very small sound bites. So this year it's all about, using your heart mind over your head mind. It's about the intuitive aspects of the rabbit's gifts, especially in a water year, which is very emotional, or can be. This is why self-care, taking care of yourself, like whether it's going to the gym or a spa or getting together with friends to do things that are really nurturing for yourself. So this is really important this year. And that's where I want to end this part of my presentation. So I had a couple of questions that have been asked to me, which, we take a little break to have some water and whatever and some munchies in between my filming. And here I am with my community of very close people, and we're talking about the rabbit, and we're talking about the hare, and we're talking about the cat. What was your question, Marcel?
Well, how the rabbit is known for being able to go really fast and then just be able to turn on a dime and
agility.
And then
right.
go side.
So let's take that aspect of the rabbit. Okay, so a rabbit can go and turn and shift. So I didn't bring that into my consciousness writing up this piece, but I can see how, whether it's Feng Shui or in your world, if you're smart and intelligent and using your deep gut and intuition, you know when to be gone. Yes, it's really, this is a year, that's why we're going deep. We're doing internal work. We're getting to know who we are. We're going deeper than most. We're being vulnerable. And that's going to give us the ability to just shift on a dime and know that that's safe and that's not. Or this is the path and that's not. And that's a brilliant question, Marcel. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Petra, you had one too.
Well, it's kind of based similar. In fact, living in the land of the rabbit, Australia,
Right.
for 5 or 6 years, sometimes I would just wait in the evening just before sunset and just watch all the rabbits pop out of the holes everywhere. I
Right.
didn't realize that you're sitting on a whole warren of family.
Oh,
family
so it's
rabbits.
kind of, this is the thing about the water and submersive energy that,
Yeah.
in a place like Australia.
Yeah.
But you also wanted to know about the cat. We talked about the cat.
Well,
Yeah.
right.
So that's one of the names that the rabbit has in Eastern astrology, is that cat or rabbit. And I'm like, well, I didn't do a lot of research on cats. So Pietra did inform me that cats are very specific in the way that they give information to each other by sound. And when they're out in groups and they're living, like, say, there's a cat that lives here, there's a cat on another corner, they have this way of communicating that's by sound in the ears. So this is the way they work their community. So it was a brilliant thing to share. And this is why I invited people to share with me today, because I'm learning stuff and being able to relate it to what's going on this year. So I'm going to stop for a moment and come back with just a kind of an overlook of the predictions for each and every animal, give you the years, tell you a little bit about that. So please stay tuned and we'll be here for the next section. Any other questions before I sign off? Nothing?